SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back. Today we will start with the detailing of each technique regarding the posture assessment. So in the last introductory class of physical method, I mentioned that for posture assessment there are varieties of small tools available. So at the very beginning, what types of tools or techniques that we used to use for posture analysis, then slowly how it has been modified, how it has gone into more detail, that we will take further. Now here question is, it is not always like posture, when we are talking about posture analysis or assessment, it's not always the whole body. Depending on the requirement, depending on the type of activities people are doing, we choose tool and we take part of it. Okay. So if you look at long back, maybe 30-40 years back, what used to happen, most of the work was very physical in nature. So everything was quite manual, right? More than 50 years back, before our industrial revolution and all. So people used to do lot of manual activity, lot of heavy load lifting, lot of awkward posture, lot of shift in the whole body posture during the work shift, right? Now based on such thing, those days some tools were developed. Slowly over the period of time, due to different changes in our working nature, working posture, it has been observed that in recent days postures are very much static in nature, and it happens that mostly our limbs are in active condition, specifically upper limbs. Okay, so we sit on a particular posture, we occupy a sitting posture, and we bend, we do activities and such things. Although it is not completely true for construction workers or shop floor workers, it's not true for them, but most of the cases, in case of office workers, what is the kind of majority of the things right now, they occupy a sitting posture. So for them, though the earlier tool was not applicable, and slowly therefore they have developed some other tool which is very specific for the sitting posture. After that also there was some realization that not only sitting posture, there are some activities like when we developed some sit stand workstation, right? So in case of sit stand workstation, and for many such cases where it is necessary for us to understand the whole body posture, then also there are some changes. In some posture assessment tool, more emphasis is on the duration of exposure, some cases frequency, some cases specific body parts of posture of specific body parts are important. So we will not be able to cover everything, however we will try to cover maximum possible in this particular course. So let us start with the very old tool, that is the Ovako working posture and assessment or analysis tool. So first let us understand what we are going to cover during this particular set of or section of this posture assessment tool or posture assessment technique. So first we will be going for OWAS, Ovako working posture analysis system. Then very commonly and widely used tool, that is the ruler rapid upper limb analysis. Third, rapid entire body analysis, manual handling assessment chart or MAC. Then manual handling, how do we do manual handling at work, and at the end maybe we will take it up the quick exposure checklist, which is very common also in in current scenario. So let us start with the Ovako working posture analysis system. So this is the very old tool, and as per my understanding and from many other researchers understanding, this is the primitive and very old tool in case of posture assessment. So this was developed in 1970. This is a company named Ovako, and from there only this particular tool's name came into existence. So it was a steel company in Finland, and there the safety and health department basically developed this particular tool. So basic component of various other tools such as ruler, reba, all are actually derived from this particular basic tool. Okay, now what was the concern when they developed this technique or developed this particular tool? They realized during the work assessment that when somebody is working in some non-neutral posture, then there is a chance, or there are some reports that they have some discomfort or for a long period some disability for those particular body parts. From that point of observation, they started inquiring how do we try to understand, or how do we assess the working posture, so that before going into discomfort level or before going into disorder level, we can prevent it and we can modify the posture, modify the working posture, and therefore we will be able to save cost. Okay, so because whenever there is a company and there is a posture related disorder and they go for medical treatment, then there is always what will happen, the cost is associated with the company or with that particular institution. So from that perspective they started inquiring, and once they started inquiring, they found yes, to some extent we can assess the bad work posture or awkward posture, and that work posture also we can give some kind of grading. Now if we give a grading to some working posture, from that grading we can understand this posture, if it is extremely towards the higher side of awkwardness, then this particular posture need some kind of intervention. Normally posture is very much associated with the working tool, working machineries, working workstation or work condition, right? If there is some kind of sharp edge is present in your work environment or work desk, you will try to avoid it and you will occupy some kind of posture which is not normal or is not neutral or near neutral. It will go on the awkward direction, right? So if something need to be worked on the very far from your body, then also there is always a chance that you are going to occupy some kind of awkward posture. Therefore, if at the very beginning there is a chance for us to evaluate or to analyze or to assess that where my posture is graded, then there is always a chance for us to rectify it at the design phase, and there will be always a chance to have less discomfort, less disorder and less medical cost associated to that particular work. Okay, so from that perspective only this particular tool was developed, and now we are going to discuss it further. So what is the procedure to go ahead with this particular tool? First is observation. What you are going to observe? You are going to observe the working posture. Now here question is which posture you are going to observe, because if you look at a particular working posture or working scenario, the posture is not always constant, right? It keeps on changing. It is very much dynamic in nature. So our observation is based on our objective of the study. Here there is some general guideline. We try to observe those postures which is frequently occurring in a particular shift, particular work shift. So some postures which are frequently occurring, okay, maybe in a particular cycle or in a particular work shift. If a particular posture is occurring very frequently, then we are going to observe or we are going to assess that particular posture. What is the reason behind it? Reason is if you are occupying a particular posture very frequently, that means that is your exposure level. That is going to decide the exposure level. So that is going to tell you that what kind of postural load you have on your body. So what is the kind of musculoskeletal stress or strain is getting generated due to that particular occupied posture. This is one thing, that is frequently occupied posture in a particular shift or particular exposure level. Second observation or second selection can be the apparently which is very much awkward in nature. That kind of posture also you can check for your analysis. Third is the kind of posture what you are holding for maximum period of time in your whole shift. One is frequently occurring, means you are holding a posture, you are changing it, again you are holding that particular posture. So that is the kind of frequency you have to count. The third one is the kind of posture that you are holding for longer duration. Those postures are also kind of dangerous, or not dangerous, I can't say dangerous, I will say the posture is a concern. Okay, so that kind of posture are also kind of concern. So two major selection criteria. One is frequently occupied posture and the posture which is being the worker is holding for longer hours. So from the observation you have to understand which posture you are going to assess. You have always freedom that you can assess all varieties of posture. However, depending on your objective, depending of your study aim, you should decide which posture you are going to adopt. Once you are going to select. Now, once you select that particular posture, you have to understand which task is associated with that particular posture, because when you are holding a particular posture, definitely you are connected with a particular task. So you are going to do that at the very beginning of your posture analysis. So first is your observation and second is selecting that which task or which posture you are going to analyze it. Once you have that, then what you have to do, you have to score for different aspect that we are going to understand in the next slide. So you have to give scoring. Now once you do the scoring, automatically you will put it into pre-computed table and from there you are going to assess the risk. This is the whole procedure for Ovako working posture analysis system or assessment tool. Okay, now let us understand this particular picture. If you look at Ovako working posture analysis system or OWAS, we have major 3 areas which we are going to analyze or assess. First is back, second is arm, and third is leg. Now, if you look at 1970 or 1960, those days these were the major body component were involved into major activities. So, grossly, okay. So, earlier nothing was specific. So, grossly trunk, arm and leg. Trunk actually holding your whole body, upper arm like these arms helps you to lot of do hand movement, and legs which helps you to occupy different types of posture and also helps to go for the different movements. Okay. So, that is why there are only 3 major components. Now, if you look at in this figure, for back we have 4 gross figures, okay, 4 gross postures which can be adapted in industrial situation. Now, here you may have some argument, not only this type of bending, there can be varieties of bending. Yes, theoretically it is possible. However, if you look at the industrial activities, industrial movements, you will see these are the 4 major movements possible, and normally they do this much. So, what it says that if you are working straight, so if you are working straight, your spine is in very neutral condition, there is no bend, no problem. So, it is 1, okay, fine. Next is bent towards forward direction. So, this is 2. Straight, however, it is little twisted. So, you are standing straight, however, you are doing your activity little in the twisted direction. So, your vision is not on the front side, it is either on left side or on the right side, right. So, in that case it is 3. You can understand, if you are straight looking forward direction, then it is very natural kind of posture, right. So, that is why its score is 1. When you are looking at straight, however, you are bending little forward, then it is 2. If you are straight and doing your activity either on left side or on right side, then it is 3. The last one in this particular table is 4, which is you are in a forward bend condition, and either you are working on the left side or right side. So, you are actually crossing your body midline. So, here when you are actually crossing your body midline, then you are developing lot of stress on your trunk muscles. So, that is why gradings were given in this way. So, for trunk, straight 1, bend in forward direction 2, straight left or right twisted 3, and bend left or right twisted 4. Now, here you again can argue that we can have back bend, you can have side bending. Yes, it is possible, but if you look at the industrial working condition, these postures are not normally being used. However, you will look at the different other adaptation or modification in future posture assessment tool. There are some more consideration on these aspects. Clear about trunk? Now, coming to the upper limb, okay. So, arm, here we have 3 major posture, both limbs on or below the shoulder level. So, this is your shoulder level. If you are doing some activity which is below shoulder level. So your shoulders are in a kind of resting condition, it is not getting any kind of stress, so you are having score of 1. Now if by chance one hand is below shoulder level and another hand is above shoulder level, then as per this figure it is 2. It can be both, either left hand or right hand. It is in the figure it is one kind is shown, but it can be both hand, like left hand up, right hand down, or left hand down and right hand up. That is all possible. So that is 2. The next is 3, when you are working with both hand above shoulder level. Of course you can understand, it's very easy, you can really connect it, that what is the kind of stress you will be getting on your shoulder if you are working above shoulder level with both hands. Okay, so arm has 3 postures. So back or trunk has 4 postures, arm has 3 postures. Now for legs we have 7 varieties of posture. It's very interesting over here, because if you look at those days, lot of stooping activity, kneeling activities, half sitting activities were need to be done in the industrial situation. So it has 7 kinds of varieties. Now legs are the only body parts which is actually bearing the whole load of your body, right? So it is very important for us to know how the legs postures are. So what it says, that first, that is the scoring 1, it says loading on both limb straight. So equally, so you are standing straight on, giving equal pressure on your both feet and you are working. Second is loading on one limb and that is straight, another is little bend, that is 2. So not equal distribution of your body weight on both feet. So one has more, another has less. Third is loading on both limb, however both limbs are bent. Okay, so you can understand, if you are in a half sitting condition without sitting support, then what kind of posture it is. So that is kind of 3. Loading on one limb, however that limb is also kind of bent, more stress, so it is 4. Loading on one particular limb and that is in a kneeled condition, one limb is in a kneeled condition, that is 5. Body is moved by the limb, so you are walking, kind of walking, okay, then it is 6. And both limbs hanging free, so you are actually half sitting condition, you are doing some activity, that is 7. So it's very difficult posture to hold it for longer hours. It is really next to impossible if you look at current situation. Okay, so this type of posture need to be avoided very at immediate intervention, through immediate intervention. Okay, so these are the kind of lower limb postures we can have in wash. Okay, so we have back, we have leg, we have arm. So these varieties. So what you have to do for a particular posture, once you decide yes this posture need to be assessed, what you will do, you will check for back first. So you will have, suppose this kind of situation, okay, your back is in this situation, so your back score is 3. In your case, in it's a hypothetical case, maybe in your case maybe your arm condition is this 2. So this is your back or trunk, this is your arm, and maybe somewhere here, okay. 4 is your leg, suppose. So your actual score became 3 to 4. Now let us see how do we analyze it. Now these are the details like standing, bend, we described it, arm posture 3 types, and leg posture 7 types. We discussed it, right? Now let us understand how do we get it. Now from this table, okay, from this table I will come back to this table later. Okay, so this is for your load and force use score. For this whole posture, if you have a weight or force needed which is 10 kg or less, then it is 1. If it is between 10 kg to 20 kg, it is 2, and if it is more than 20 kg, then it is 3. So now suppose for your case it is 2. So you have a postural score of 3 to 4 and load or use of force is 2. So if this is your combination, let us understand how your posture will look like. Okay, so back was 3, so your observation is on this particular portion. Okay, now your arm was 2, so this, right? So your again observation is restricted on this particular sector. Now your leg was 4, so this particular column, so you are here, right? This region, this is your region where your score is lying. Now based on your load force score which was 2, that means this column your score is 4. Ultimate your score became 4. Your final score for Ovako working posture assessment is 4. Now let us go back to the table. This is your action category. What it says? You are here. Now if it is 1, the final score, if it is 1, then there is no action is required to be performed. So you are in a good condition. There is no need to change any kind of posture. It's a good posture. If it is 2, then corrective actions required in the near future. If it is 3, then correction action should be done as soon as possible, as this particular example that we adapted, that is 4, it says you need to do kind of changes immediately. So what is there? This particular assessment will tell you that yes, this posture what is being adapted in current situation is extremely dangerous. So what you need to do, you need to change it immediately. And what will lead you to that change? Definitely the changes in the work condition, work position, designing of the equipment or machineries, or designing of the workstation, and many other things. So then we have to go into further inquiring that what is causing this particular awkward posture. What is causing this extremely awkward posture, and if we can do changes in that particular causal factor, we will be able to correct this posture, and from 4 we may reduce either on 3 or 2. Okay, see, whenever we are doing any kind of activity, always there is a risk. We cannot avoid any risk. However, we need to understand risk level should not go beyond the threshold. Also, if it is going beyond the threshold, how we are taking it back at the normal. So, what is the kind of recovery we are giving? If some cases it is mandatory due to the work demand that this posture need to be there, or you have to really hold that particular posture, you have to make sure that how I am doing the work shift cycle or work rotation, so that a particular person is not being exposed towards that particular kind of awkward risk, postural risk for longer duration. If you can maintain that, so that is why posture assessment is important tool. However, we need to understand kind of exposure level. So, duration of exposure, that is very important. If we don't understand that, we will not be able to really give the correct intervention program for those working population. It's not that there is everything is one. No, it is not possible, because if there is a occupation and if there is some task to be done, there is always a risk available, and you have to face those risks. However, you need to understand how do we control it, how do we measure it. Okay, so that is why assessing it very important. As you know that it's a very dangerous posture that you are occupying, then you can definitely go and look and check back what are the design interventions can be possible. Is it possible to change the machinery design? Is it possible to change the workstation design? Is it possible to change the frequency of that particular operation? Is it possible to rearrange the manpower in that particular system? However, we have to keep that in mind. Ultimate productivity of the whole system cannot be compromised. Okay, so this way we can use Ovako working posture assessment tool. So let us understand what are the advantages and disadvantages. So it's very easy to learn. All of you must have learned till this time, like we are discussing. You can easily go and start implementing it. It's very easy tool. Before and after comparisons can be made to evaluate the effectiveness of the intervention. So, before intervention you have a typical posture, and after intervention you have a typical posture. You can readily compare them. It has been improved or not improved. Okay. So it's very easy tool and very advantageous tool. Scores for each body part can be used in epidemiological studies. As I mentioned, suppose we had 3 to 4, right? If that is the category, now we need to understand for the higher value of the ultimate score, which factor is causing major which is causing more impact, which is giving more impact to it. So understanding that will give you a better understanding about the epidemiological studies in that particular sector. And customization of the system to specific users need is very easy. So you can do that very quickly and very easily. So that is the advantages. However, we have some disadvantages as well. Trunk and shoulder postures categorizes are very broad. You do not have those detailing, so that is not being considered in this, but it's a very gross category. Only back, then arm, and then legs. So you do not have shoulder, finger, and all those things are not there. Also, duration of exposure is not given importance. It's only assess that particular posture. It never gives you an understanding what is the impact of that particular posture if you are holding it for 1 hour, for 5 hours, or for whole 8-hour shift, or if you are holding it 3 times in an hour. So there is no such impact analysis has been done. So left and right arms are not assessed separately, because if you look at the working habits, mostly people work with their dominant hand. Okay, so if you are a righty, then you will use your right hand. If someone is lefty, they will use the left hand. Now however, in this particular tool there is no such discrimination. You cannot understand what is happening with your right hand and what is happening with your left hand separately. However, we suggest that whenever we are using such tool, we try to analyze, or we try to understand the dominant hand of that particular person, dominant side of that particular person. Elbow and wrist positions are not considered, as I mentioned earlier. So for more detailing, maybe we should go for some other tool. If you need those detail, you should not go for OWAS, you should go for the other tool. So these are the disadvantages of this particular tool. What do you need? You need this particular worksheet that I showed in this particular pictures in the slide. Okay, so all these figure wise, you need that particular worksheet, and you need a video recorder. Now you can ask, why video recorder? It is suggested that if you take the video recording of the whole working posture after coming back to the laboratory, you can easily choose this posture to be analyzed or that posture to be analyzed. So you are suggested that you do a video recording, proper video recording, because in this particular tool or technique, you do not have any kind of degree measurement. Only the whole body should be visible very clearly to depict the kind of posture that is there in the worksheet. Okay, so these are the tools and tools required for wash analysis. Okay, that's all for today. Next class we will go for Rula, Reva and many other tools. We will discuss that also in this detail. Thank you so much.